Yes, sir. We officially back at it. This is Book Nice 10, about to bring you a review of the return of Marvel Legends Wave 2 Thunderball. Let's do it.
Man, I used to play the trap spot, propped on the block like I was part of the backdrop. Now it's scale, props, effects, and backdrops. The right lighting, you never catch me biting. Say you make it look so real when you pose the figures fighting. I caught lightning, stuck it in the detour. Replicate epic scenes from the Creed War. Compose pieces with artists that span the globe. Fearsome foes, Spidey in the picture perfect pose. Insert the comic book cut out to shoot a show. Oh, you ain't know? Yo, everybody know me. I made nerds cool nerd like my man Zola. Took the everyday display, gave it a spark. Welcome to articulated comic book art.
So here we are with the return of Hasbro Marvel Legends Wave 2 Thunderball. This is 1/4 of the Wrecking Crew. Right off the bat, I gotta tell you that I'm really happy with the way this figure came out. The look, the size, the articulation, the head sculpt, just about everything about this figure I'm pretty happy with. One or two minor gripes with the figure. I will go over everything in detail. But first and foremost, let me let you know that this body mold was originally a Toy Biz mold. So I'll show you the other figures that use this same body mold real quick, and then we'll go into the articulation. So the first character with this mold was the Young Avengers box set Hulkin, who had the mold. This is a Toy Biz release. Then Hasbro used the same mold for their Crossbones release. Then they used it one more time on Warpath on both versions. This was the classic version and the X-Force with the black and gray. There's the four side by side. So as you can see, the body has gone through some slight modifications until we got up to the point where they used it for Thunderball. And one of the most noticeable differences, if you can see, all of their legs are kind of thin. They added a little girth to the legs of Thunderball here, which was a really nice touch. So let's take a closer look at Thunderball here. Let's go over the articulation real quick. The head gets a really nice range of motion. Because of most of the newer releases from Hasbro, they give him that ball joint. The head is removable, and you can get it to look up really far, get it to look down, left and right. Another thing that I like about what Hasbro was doing with these heads is you could get that little side tilt too. I like that too, but the head gets a really nice range of motion. Ball jointed shoulders. You get an upper bicep swivel, single jointed elbow. You do get a swivel here at the glove. Would have been nice if we got a wrist hinge. That was one thing that the mold lost from Hulkin. Originally, Hulkin did have a wrist hinge, even though the hands were totally different. But I don't know why they didn't include a wrist hinge on this guy. But you do get the swivel at the glove. You get a really nice deep ab crunch up and back. One thing that a lot of people always point out is they left the detail out here. When you put it back far, you get a waist swivel, great ab crunch and waist swivel. I want that all the time. I'm not sure why they made this sort of like a separate piece, the belt. I guess it's good because it doesn't really hinder the articulation when you're trying to get them into some nice poses and whatnot. But they could have easily just made that, painted that on. I don't know how I really feel about it. I guess it is better to have it as a separate piece. Same thing on both sides as far as the arm articulation. You get a ball joint here at the pelvis. You get an upper thigh swivel. You get double jointed knees. No swivel here at the boot. That would have been nice, but you do get nice ankle articulation plus the toe joint. A very slight pivot. Would have been nice if that pivot was a little deeper, but really nice articulation all around, especially for a big guy. Great articulation. I'm really pleased with the articulation on this guy. Like I said, especially because he's such a big character. All right, going over the paint apps just a little bit. Quick look at the Marvel Universe version. You see there's a lighter lime green and yellow. I mean, it's only two colors. This version does have some shading and whatnot, throughout. But they went with a darker green color scheme for the Marvel Legends version. I like it. I think it looks fine. I think the paint came out pretty good. You can see just a little bit of minor bleed right there. I don't even know if my camera's really picking it up, but nothing too crazy. I mean, again, it's two colors. They did give him a little bit of shading throughout the costume. The one thing that I really do like, though, is the head sculpt. Came out great. His face looks great. He's got the TWA right there. That's what we call a teeny weeny afro. I think they probably could have put detailed the hair just a little bit more, maybe gave it a little shaded in there, but overall this head sculpt is just great. It looks amazing. And they did a good job on the skin tone. You know, sometimes they screw up the African American characters. So that's another great thing. Really great to get another African American character in the Marvel Universe. But I think overall the paint is okay. I don't think it's bad. But it's not insane. But it's good. It's good. I think it looks. So Thunderball comes with one accessory here. His ball and chain. Unfortunately, it's molded into this shape. The chain portion, it does move, but it's not articulated. There's no bendy wire or anything in there. It's pretty lightweight, which is good. The one thing that's good about it is it's molded into the shape, so to get him in a swinging pose, which I'll show in a minute, is pretty easy. But I would have much rather this to been articulated and for you to have it in different poses, and you can elongate this. It would have been a lot better. So because he has that accessory, his hands are shaped open. They're molded into two open fists, basically. And the way that they're open is fine. It doesn't really bother me. I know some people may prefer fists, but because they're sculpted in this way, it still can kind of look like a punch, or he's throwing a punch or a fist when you maneuver it and position it in a certain way. But I'm not too happy about this. This could have been much better, but it's not too bad. The plastic on the hands is not really hard, so you can actually get other items into the hand. I mean, obviously the ball and chain could go in there too. It will kind of stretch a little bit, I guess you could say, to get those other items in there without damaging the hand or without bending the fingers out of place. So you can see there. Get a shot from behind, and you can see how all of these multiple points of articulation work well for this figure. Really is a nice figure. A deeper ankle pivot would have worked a little better, but no big deal. Everything is working together. The ball jointed shoulders, that ab crunch, so he could really dig down deep for these hits. Double jointed knees, the upper thigh swivel, the ankle articulation. Even though the pivot is not as deep as I would like it to be, still everything's working in tandem. He's got peg holes on the bottom of the feet. This is why double jointed elbows would have been nice. Not a huge deal. Could have bent that arm a little bit more so you could really get him in that position where he's kind of has the ball and chain hanging over his shoulder. It doesn't really work too well like this. I mean, I could mess around with it probably a little bit more and try to get it into a nice position, but this is why it would have been nice to get a wrist hinge so you could flip that hand up when he's swinging the ball, or even be able to maneuver that one in the back. It's not a huge deal, but it would have been nice. Get you another look at how far that head sculpt could go up, so that's really nice. And you know, the open hands there obviously can serve a different purpose, like I spoke about in between time, like a week or so ago. You know, you got to work with the figure's attributes as far as doing your displays and stuff like that. But that head sculpt and the way that it can look up really far is nice. So again, nice range of motion on the head. It can look down pretty far, and that's important for a large character. I said that in another episode of Meantime Between Time as well. But for him to be able to look down at the characters of smaller stature is pretty important to me. So big shout out to my man Whichjuanz for letting me hold this figure so I could do this review. This figure is on loaner. I actually do not have any of the figures from Wave 2 just yet, so you guys sit tight. Wave 2 hasn't really hit retail yet. It's been popping up in a few places here and there on eBay for inflated prices. I would just sit tight, guys. I'm pretty sure these will pop up at retail everywhere. Wave 1 is just starting to pop up in Target. So hopefully these things will be more widely distributed, especially after this weekend with the New York Toy Fair happening. So but I definitely wouldn't pass up on this figure, man. A really dope figure, and essential if you're trying to complete the Wrecking Crew. I hope we get the Wrecking Crew completed by Wave 3 or Wave 4 of Marvel Legends. But again, we'll find out more information about that after this weekend with Toy Fair. Alright, y'all, until next time, peace.
That's crispy.